Okay, we start with an empty chair. Okay. Assuming I'm sitting in the middle of the chair, we should be good.
Okay, so that we can have a better frame of reference for your business, can you give us kind of a high-level overview of what what TNT USA does?
Well, TNT USA is part of the North American business unit made up of the U.S. and Canada. We're a small package. Primarily, we're an express delivery company. Most people here have heard of UPS or FedEx, as we refer to them as brown and purple. But we are Europe's largest express package delivery company, and we're the fourth largest worldwide. And we, in the U.S. and Canada, or TNT North America, we service the major metropolitan areas of both countries. We only have about 800 employees working in North America, and we have a lot of partnerships with other vendors who help us supply our service.
Okay, perfect. And so for your role, can you state what your role is and then what you do there?
Sure. Well, personally, I'm responsible for all of human resources for both countries. I have a staff of 6, and along with my staff, we're involved in recruitment and selection, training and development, employee relations, recognition, compliance and benefits. And as I'm really proud of, one of the things that TNT is, we're an IIP accredited company. IIP is Investors in People, and every 3 years we have to get recertified. So an auditor comes around, basically asks the senior management team for a story on how we train, develop, reward, recognize, all of these things that you would do with employees. And then the auditor sets off to all of our offices asking the employees their opinion. Usually wrapped up with a nice little comment from the auditor. Thank you, senior team. Now let's go find out what really happens. So he goes around and he does his auditing, and this past year we achieved some of the highest scores in TNT in communication. So what it means is this is a really cool place to work if you're the HR guy, because you get to brag about this. And it's, you know, the auditor actually said it was some of the highest communication scores he's ever seen in his time as an auditor.
Wow, that's awesome.
You know, so this is a company where if you're an HR person, it's a great place to work, which I want to believe if you're an employee, it's a great place to work.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, going a little off script for a second, you know,
Sure.
Over the last 2 years, how has your team been stretched or changed to meet what was going on in the overall economy?
Well, 2 years ago, we actually, HR felt the hit of the economy just like everybody else, and I downsized my department. I had 8, I went down to 3. And over the last 2 years, I've built it back up to the 6 that we have currently.
Okay.
So you want to talk about feeling the pinch? We felt the pinch.
I can imagine. I'm sure hiring didn't slow down. Well, did hiring slow down that much for you over those 2 years?
I would say probably 2 years ago it didn't slow down that much, but in the last, the last go-around, the end of 2009, we did very little hiring. We had no layoffs, which was great, but we did reduce our headcount through attrition.
Gotcha.
So probably from around November till February, that time frame, we did almost no hiring or very cautious hiring.
Right. And is it starting to pick up for you?
Like gangbusters, yeah.
Good. So it looks like you bought a sort of screen management for the Northeast Regional Sales Manager role. Can you kind of give us how that came about and what your objectives and challenges were with filling this position?
Sure. I mean, with the Northeast Regional, we, like all good companies, wanted to keep costs down. We placed our ads. We reviewed resumes, and we were drowning in unqualified resumes. Unfortunately, as the economy worsens, everybody applies for everything.
Right.
We were getting hundreds, if not thousands, of hits of people thinking they could be our Northeast Regional Sales Manager, when our postings clearly said industry experience was required. Although the package delivery industry is not small, it's also not your biggest one. You should get a few dozen, maybe a few hundred responses, not a few thousand responses.
Right.
And of the responses we were getting, they weren't terribly qualified. So my goal from buying this package was to really, find some qualified people who knew who TNT was, were not the TV station, and narrow my selection process greatly.
Gotcha. So what did you purchase before from Career Builder, and then after? I assume you probably got some job postings from us, but after this type of engagement, how did your perception change a little?
Well, that's probably my longest answer on the pre-work, because is it okay for me to tell about my past with Career Builder?
I'd love to. I'd love to hear it.
I'm a self-proclaimed, or I was, let me correct that, I was a self-proclaimed Career Builder hater. I've been in the industry in either an HR capacity or a headhunting capacity or a job seeker capacity, for 20 plus years. And Career Builder was never, in my opinion, the one to beat. I've had great success with Monster. I have great success with Hot Jobs. My feeling was Career Builder's salespeople were annoying, their product was marginal, and your business plan was silly. That was my experience. And like anything else, you had a persistent salesperson who was not annoying. I think Marquita Hannes is wonderful. And, she called, I listened, and I really wanted to hear more about what was going on, plus the fact the people who had always done well by me now really weren't. And it was a little bit of a matter, I was in pain, I wanted something new, what had always worked wasn't. So, okay, show me what you got. And Career Builder came in, showed me some really slick, really intuitive technology that I didn't see before. Brought one of my recruiters in, actually one of my HR managers loves recruiting, and she really test drove the website, beat it up as if you will, and just loved it. Said, this is the one, this is where we're going to get all our people from, and we bought web, searching and posting.
Good.
And it's really been working out well for us.
Good. I'm glad we were able to change you over.
Yeah, you went from worst to first.
There you go. Well, tell us about your overall experience once you bought from us and you got into the source and screen management. What was your overall experience with the people and the process and everything that you kind of went through and getting the people that you were looking for?
Well, I guess you have cool technology. I'll come back to that in a minute. You have great people, and you have easy to work with processes. When we're training people, one of the things I do here as well is train. We're always striving for easy to do business with. And I think every step of the way, you all were very easy to do business with. If we had any questions, you were right there to answer it. I actually wasn't sure I was going to be able to keep this appointment because something changed over the weekend. And I emailed Molly, and she replied over the weekend. And, I don't expect that, but it was nice, and, things worked out, and I was able to keep the appointment. But Marquita's wonderful. She's just made the whole process very, very easy, and lost my train of thought there for a second. But as far as the technology goes, Dustin has been able to explain it in ways that probably, if he was more technical, would have been truly lost on the customer. He did mention the word algorithm, which I thought was cool. He worked it into a sentence. But when you're talking about this type of technology, again, I'm a little bit jaded. I wasn't a big believer in that it was actually going to work and do what he said it was going to do, because other companies have said, yeah, our web tracking software knows where where the candidates are going and when they're going, and he presented it in a way that made sense. It didn't bombard me with techno speak, and I believed him. So all very important factors. But I put it to the test. When I interviewed the candidates, I said, where did you see my ad? And clearly they were finding the ad on places that, A, I didn't advertise, and B, I probably wouldn't advertise.
Right.
So the software did exactly what it said. It went out and, based on the person's web trafficking habits, put my ad in front of them.
Right.
And I'm sold. I thought it was absolutely wonderful from a technical perspective, from a it did what it said perspective, but I still have to come back to the people. Your people get it. Your people are easy to work with. And, I know they're broken up into territories, but if I could recommend Marquita and Dustin, I would recommend them to anybody.
That's great to hear. Great to hear. They're both from my perspective, some of our best. So it's great to hear that from you. So overall, I know you spent about $3,000 for the services.
Mm-hmm.
How would you quantify the return on it?
Well, I'd like the hiring manager to hire somebody, is what I'd like him to do. But I'll put it in perspective. I don't know who the listening audience for this is, but sadly, a very small ad in the New York Times that runs once can be about $2,500 or $3,000. If I put that ad in the paper, I'm going to generate all of those, hundreds, thousands of unqualified people who couldn't read. So I might as well just light my money on fire. For the $3,000 I spent with Career Builder and Personified, I got 14 people that, to be honest, Dustin doesn't work for my company. He's not, on the inside. All 14 probably could have been interviewed. But we took them, we looked at them. There were some we liked more than others, and, we narrowed that down to a field of 7. Of those field of 7, 3 didn't do so well in the interview. That happens. But we're left with 4 candidates that are, potentials.
Right.
My expectation is those 4 plus 1 that I found on my own are going to make up the final competition that the hiring manager is going to choose from. If I was a betting man, I'd say right now the leader is from Personified, and it was well worth the money.
Good.
But again, I could have lit the money on fire and got nothing. So
That's right.
while the hire hasn't been made yet, at least I have something to show for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So last question, and this is just for me,
Mm-hmm.
is there something about our service or something that you would say, hey, if we tweaked it a little bit this way or tweaked it a little bit that way, you can make the service even better?
He asked me an unscripted question.
I did.
Let me think about that a second. No, I can honestly say the people that you have doing it are top-notch. They make the process easy. We did the little bit of back and forth before we started the process, so Dustin knew exactly what we wanted. He kept all of his promises down to the minute, literally. It worked really well.
Good.
If I think of something, I'll let you know after the fact. But
Something, definitely let me know. Neil, again, we appreciate you being willing to do this, and it's customers like you, because most time, I'm the vice president of sales and marketing. Most time I hear all the bad stuff. I don't necessarily get to hear the good stuff. So I like to do these, and we really appreciate your time in putting this together and writing it down and then filming it for us. But if you ever need anything, you ever have questions, or you think about how we could tweak it, we'd love to get your feedback on it, because my goal is to make the service the best it can be. We think we're on the right track, but we know there's always room for improvement.
Well,
so if you do think of anything, let us know. But again, we thank you for being a customer, and thank you for doing this for us.
my pleasure. And if I do think of something, I'll let you know. But it worked, and we're looking for other opportunities to use it, to be honest with you.
Perfect.
All
Well,
right.
I think Molly gave you the instructions on how to upload it, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome. Well, if you could do that for us, again, we appreciate it.
No problem.
Enjoy the flip camera,
Thanks.
and we'll talk soon.
All right. Take care, Corey.
Take care.